Okay, guys, here's what we call the culminating activity, right? We're going to take all of the lessons. Lesson 1 dealing with the history of juvenile law. 2, due process. 3, the juvenile arrest standards. We're going to take all 3 of those and we're going to put them together. I'm going to give you a scenario. Something's going to happen, and I want you to put all of that information to work, right? So let's talk about this. I want you to imagine that you are a juvenile defense attorney, okay? You're a lawyer, and you get a client. A guy comes in with his parents, and he wants to hire you to defend him. Right? Now, to be able to defend him competently, you got to apply the information that I gave you from lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. Right? Now, juvenile comes into your office with his parents and explains the following to you. Says he and his friends went to the mall to buy sneakers. When the lady came with the sneakers, 2 of his friends grabbed their sneakers and ran out the store. He stayed. Lady obviously calls the police. The police come. They interrogate your client. They want to get information out of him. He refuses. He says, I don't know anything. So what do you think happens? Well, the police placed him in custody. Placed him in custody and took him to the police station. Right? When they took him to the police station, he was taken into an interview room with 2 other police officers. Now, mind you, nobody called his parents to say that he was in custody. Okay. The 2 officers that took him into the interview room started to berate him. They was yelling at him and screaming at him and trying to get him to tell them what they wanted to know. As he was saying back at the mall, I don't know anything. He was so afraid and upset, he got scared and he started crying. Police officers kept him in that room for about another hour or so. Then they took him to a cell, holding cell. In this holding cell, there were multiple adults, numerous adults. Left him in that holding cell. 2 hours later, his parents come and get him. Right? Now, based on that scenario I gave you, I want you to see if you can identify 1 or 2 things that happened to this young man that shouldn't have happened. I want you to think about the previous lessons that we talked about how the law applies to juveniles. Right? Some of the things that took place that shouldn't have. I want you to take 5 minutes or so and see if you can identify some of the things, some of his rights that were violated. See if you could do that, right? At this point of the video, I want you to stop and you can think about this for 5 minutes and I'm going to come back to you, right? And we're going to see what you guys came up with. Okay, now I'm back, guys. Now I want you to tell me, what do you think were some of the things that happened to your client that shouldn't have happened? Correct. The first thing, he should not have been taken into custody in the first place, right? They didn't have any probable cause of him committing a crime. His buddies, they got away with some sneakers. Okay. But he doesn't control, he doesn't have any idea. He has no way to control the behavior of his friends. He's only accountable for himself. So that's the first thing. He shouldn't have been taken into custody. He didn't break the law. All right? Okay. Second thing, somebody. Correct. He shouldn't have been taken to a police station in the first place. Where should he have been taken? To the juvenile detention facility. He should have gone to the juvenile detention. He had no business being in the police station. All right? He should have been processed. Within that process of the juvenile detention facility, first thing they're going to do is call his mom. Okay. Somebody else. Right. He was not Mirandized. He was not reminded. He was not warned that he had what? The right to remain silent. He didn't have to tell him anything. Nobody told him that. Being a juvenile, as we said before, Galt versus Arizona essentially said, whether you are a juvenile or whether you are not, whether you're a juvenile or an adult, you're still entitled to due process. Somebody give me another one. When he was Mirandized, when they took him in that room, those two officers, and they badgered and berated him and scared him half to death, they were supposed to, as we said first, they were supposed to Mirandize him, didn't do that. But now, once they realized that he had no information to give them, he should have been put in a cell by himself. You cannot house juveniles and adults in the same correctional facility. It doesn't work that way. Unless he has been waived up by a juvenile magistrate and charged as an adult, he should not be in an adult court or an adult jail. Period. See if you can find one more thing. One more. One more. Phone call. He didn't receive his opportunity to contact his parents or to contact a lawyer. They held him there and they kept him. These are the things that you have to be mindful of. I want to be clear with you, and I think it's very important that I say this to you. In all the classes that I teach, whether it be juvenile law, adult criminal law, I make it clear that these are the rights that you're entitled to. But because you are entitled to these rights, it is not in your best interest to sit here and throw these things in law enforcement officers' face. You have to speak kindly and respectfully. Like my mother used to tell me a long time ago, it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. Be mindful, be respectful. Understand what your rights are as a juvenile. But if you feel that your rights have been violated, live to tell about it. You understand what I'm saying? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Be mindful. Now, with all of that said, I miss you guys. I wish you were here. Unfortunately, with this pandemic that we're facing, it's not going to be possible. But we're all going to live to tell about it next summer. Right? So take care of everything you need to take care of. Expectations are still the same, and do everything you need to do to better yourselves. Right? See you good folks later.